Welcome to Offsite Dirt, the podcast committed to uncovering all the insights of the offsite construction industry. Join us as we delve into the realm of offsite construction solutions, modern building methods, high-performance construction, lean manufacturing, and beyond. Your experiences fuel our passion for the industry, fostering collaboration and driving business growth worldwide. So let's get down to the dirt. Here's our host, Audree Grubesic.
Hello and welcome to Offsite Dirt, where you get all the dirt on offsite construction news. We are speaking with Rob Howard with Howard Building Science. How are you, Rob? How are things going in your neck of the woods?
They're going. It never as fast as I would like, but yeah, we're making good progress.
If you wouldn't mind, can you tell people a little bit about Howard Building Science, your communities, and kind of where you are, what you have started in your pocket neighborhood project?
Yeah, so Howard Building Science is a small general contracting firm based in Granite Falls, North Carolina, between Hickory and Lenoir, just down the mountain from Boone, and focused on trying to provide what we call sustainable, attainable housing. So small homes built to the Department of Energy Zero Energy Ready Home standard, and utilizing as much offsite construction technology techniques as we possibly can. Right now we're doing primarily SIP construction, but also looking at full volumetric modular for this project and future projects.
So let's talk. I think we talked maybe 2 years ago, and I love that we are talking building science and high performance because that is the evolution of where we want to bring our homes. And when we were talking, I think you just purchased the land, or maybe you had it for a little while. So can you walk us through Duke Street Cottages? Can you walk us through that neighborhood and why did you do it, and what was so important for you to create this neighborhood?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I guess it was 21 when we originally started the project. So, it takes a while to get these approved, through zoning and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, I guess ultimately, Granite Falls is my hometown, and I really wanted to do this sort of pilot project in my hometown. I sometimes say that if I can do this in Granite Falls, I can do it anywhere. There's not necessarily a big demand, for high performance, net zero energy type of construction here, but there's definitely a need for affordable housing, just like there is everywhere in the country. So yeah, I guess trying to prove that sustainable is attainable has, kind of become the tagline for us. So I'm not pretending like that's easy by any means. I've got to keep a close watch on the numbers because we're trying to achieve certainly an above code, certification in the Zero Energy Ready Home standard, but also, keep these homes affordable for the average person in this area to be able to afford to buy and own.
So what type of homes are they? Are they single family homes? Are they ranch style homes? Can you give us a little overview of what the design components are?
Sure. Yeah, they're single family detached cottage homes is what I call them. But I mean, they're close together on very, very small lots, just 5-foot setbacks all the way around. Um, there's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath design that is just over 800 square feet, and that's all on one level. And then we've got a 2-story cottage, which I'm actually coming to you live from that land right now. As I mentioned to you, we kept one of these for ourselves. So I live at Duke Street Cottages, but we kept one of the 3-bedroom plans that's 2-story, around 1,400 square feet heated, but has roughly the same footprint as the 800 square foot model. So it's kind of like a townhouse design in a way, in that it's all living down and all your bedrooms are upstairs.
That sounds lovely. And it's funny because we talk about smaller spaces, but I feel like more and more people are wanting smaller spaces. People don't want to live in clutter, and they don't want to live in all these big massive homes anymore. They just don't serve a purpose. And like you were talking about, affordable, obtainable. I don't even know if there's anything really affordable anymore to be able to create that and to live in the neighborhood. How has that been for you? Not only being the builder developer, but living there and meeting all the people that, reside in the community with you.
Yeah, of course, you're getting to know your buyers as the builder, but I have the opportunity to also get to know them, as their neighbor. We've been living here, with four other families who've bought houses here and for almost a year now. So of course we're all living through an active construction site, which is challenging, but yeah, they know they're kind of the early adopters, in this neighborhood, and they've been, really good about that. But yeah, I guess my target market, if you want to think of it that way, is 1 and 2 person households. So, could be first time home buyer, and certainly we're seeing that. A couple of my buyers are on the younger end of the spectrum and either, single or young couples. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we're also seeing some either retirees or soon to be retirees who want to downsize. And this single level living in a smaller home is certainly popular option for downsizers.
So on your particular lot, I know that you said you have small lot sizes. How many homes are you able to have in your development area? And is there anything other than the homes? Do you have like a meeting area or anything that makes it specific or community friendly that you really wanted to expose? Or was this generally just really trying to get the building science behind, high performing homes and making sure that was the goal?
Yeah, both, I guess. I mean, the neighborhood was designed after Ross Chapin's concept of a pocket neighborhood. So, rather than pave a cul-de-sac down the middle and front your houses on asphalt, you put your green space in the middle, and your front porches overlook this shared green space in the center of the community. And really, your covered front porch is intended to be your outdoor living space. Instead of having a deck on the back, you have this large, basically outdoor living room, as Chapin describes it, that encourages people to be in community when it's nice outside, and you often find yourself out sitting on your front porch, and the houses are close enough, that you can have a conversation with your neighbor without leaving your porch. So you joke that you can borrow a cup of sugar, without leaving the house. So yeah, they're close together. But I guess in addition to the green space in the center, there will also be some kind of commons. We've reserved a portion of the property for some kind of common building, like a picnic shelter, pavilion. I'm not exactly sure what shape that's going to take yet. We're kind of holding that till the end. We now have 5 families living here. We have a property owners association that meets monthly. So I'm trying to let my early adopters have some say in what that common area becomes, so that it's not one, I don't have to make all the decisions. I have to make enough decisions as the builder developer of this project. So I'd love to have their buy-in, and make it something that we all find value in as an association.
I love that. I think that we need more of those. I live in Savannah, Georgia, and lots of people sit on their front porch, and there's just something nostalgic about having conversation and seeing people and taking a breath and realizing that it is community. So I congratulate you on that project. And I know it has been a passion project from you, Ron. I mean, Rob, we talked about it and it was so exciting when we were talking about it. And now you're really doing it. So congratulations. One thing I'd love to move into is the eco panel or the SIP panel. Tell me a little bit more about your strategy with that and why you chose to start your projects with that.
Yeah, so I got to know Charles Leahy, the owner of Eco Panels, in a former life when I was working for Mitsubishi Electric. I was designing HVAC systems for high performance homes, and some of those homes ended up using Eco Panels as the envelope system. So, got familiar with the system, went down and toured their factory in Moxville, which is just over an hour from here, and was very impressed with the system. So, traditional SIPs are 2 skins of OSB sheathing with usually EPS foam in the core. Eco Panels actually uses closed cell spray foam in the core, so you get higher R value per inch and just a more rigid panel. But they're also essentially customizing these panels for my plan. So I send them the house plan, they panelize it, and they put all the window and door openings in the factory. They actually run electrical conduit as well as boxes for switches and outlets and so forth. All that's roughed in the factory, so it makes it much easier. Once we put these things together, which on a small home only takes about 2 to 3 days, to set the walls and the roof panels. So we can get these things in the dry very quickly. So we're not exposing, the building to, the elements for, very long. And I really like that, that we don't gain any excess moisture in the building as we're trying to get it dried in. But we're also ending up with a very high performance envelope. We're far exceeding, local code requirements, and even exceeding the requirements for zero energy ready home.
So on these particular panels, do they do floor panels and roof panels, or do they just do the outside exterior panels? Do they do the entire shell of the home?
I think they do offer the entire shell package. I'm not using their floor panels. We're the first 5 homes were built on closed crawl space foundations. Phase 2, we're actually transitioning over to stem wall slabs. So, the land it's got a little bit of slope to it, but it's, the portion that I'm building on now is the flattest part of the overall property. So it just made sense to do slab foundations there. So, but yeah, we are doing their exterior walls and their roof panels. We're getting a 4.5-inch wall panel that's R26, and we are using a 8.25-inch roof panel that's R52.
That's incredible. It's incredible what we can do with panels. So starting this journey and knowing that this was the direction you wanted to go, how has the process been from the first house to the 5th house? Was it just considerably faster? Were you creating a different plan? Did anything change in that process from the first house to the 5th house?
We didn't really change a whole lot in those first 5. I mean, those are basically identical. I mentioned that those were on closed crawl spaces, and we were using attic storage trusses, to support the roof panels. So, I floored the whole center section of the attic. So you ended up with, I don't know, probably 400 square feet of, floored storage in the attic, which is great. I mean, everybody loves that. In phase 2, we actually got rid of the attic storage truss and went to just a ridge beam down the center because we upgraded to a thicker panel for the roof. We're actually able to free span. They're basically, it's a structural panel by nature. So limiting framing means we're reducing cost, but we're also, able to include a lot of that volume in the finished space. So you get this nice vaulted ceiling over the great room area, and then we're framing a loft over the bedrooms and bathrooms. So we're giving the buyers the option of either leaving that loft open or closing it off as attic storage.
Wow, that sounds amazing. It's fascinating how we evolve, right? We start with this side, and then we start looking at other ways to start utilizing space and utilizing structural beams and being able to create that system of more space, which is lovely. So when we were talking, you went from panels, you've been increasing the velocity of your home or the density of your home through now changing the roof panels. Where do you see modular or offsite construction possibly coming into the future part of your neighborhood?
Yeah, I think we talked about this, a couple of years ago, but modular, full volumetric modular was really my first thought for this project, but it just didn't work out for a number of reasons. But yeah, I've got these last 2 lots that are narrow. So the rest of the houses I've built in this project are all 24 feet wide, but these last 2 lots are only going to be able to be 16 feet wide. So suddenly that becomes, a logical size for a module that you can, transport. And so looking at a couple of different options for building those last 2 as modular. And I mean, it's something I've always wanted to try anyway. It's really just about finding the right, factory partner to do the construction. So looks like I've got that lined up now. So I'm excited about, going down that road, hoping that that's gonna, do two things really: help me to, even more, on cost control as well as schedule control. So if I can build them faster and, less expensive to, to try to keep the cost down, but still keep the high performance, standards that I've set for myself and for this project, then it just makes sense.
I so agree with you. And just as our audience may or may not know, not all manufacturers or modular factories work with this type of high performance. They do their performance, not to mention not all of them customize plans. So it is a big search to be able to find that. And I'm glad that you did. I think the other thing that I want to mention that I thought was really interesting, Rob, is that you mentioned that the factory that you used for your SIP panels was only an hour away, which was magical, right? I think as far as high performance, we're also looking about our carbon footprint and being able to reduce as much carbon on site. I see so many benefits. When you were doing your SIP panels and you were, for everybody that may not know, SIP panels are the outer lining, basically the shell of the home. Think about all the building of the home, but you still have all of the interior work to be done. So you're still contacting all of your electrical, your plumbing, your HVAC people, and obviously Rob is a specialist in that space, but you have your cabinets, they have to come in, your flooring. I mean, you're building a whole home. But the difference is when you're doing modular construction, that entire box actually comes with your cabinets and your flooring and your wall finish, and it's also inspected in the factory. When you were using your SIP panels, obviously those were inspected in the factory. Then did they have to do another inspection on site?
Well, they're engineered, from the factory. So essentially, I just give the panel plans to my local building inspector, and he looks at it and realizes it's engineered. So he doesn't technically have to, inspect behind the engineer. But of course, I want to make sure that my local building inspector is on board with what I'm doing, and he geeks out on this stuff just like I do. So it's kind of fun to see something different, than what you're used to seeing every day in the field.
Well, I think it's wonderful too that you found somebody that was like interested, because I think a lot of building departments, a lot of planning offices, they need more people, right? And so they're so inundated, and then bringing another philosophy or another construction method to the table, not a lot of them are as welcoming as what the experience of you have been. So on that, and you're talking about, this person coming in and talking to you about it. Are there other projects now that are using zip panels and stuff in the area that you're at, Rob? Are you seeing a little bit expansion, a little change of mind in the area that you're at?
As far as using SIPs
Construction,
on
yeah,
other,
SIPs, yeah.
there's quite a few builders up in the mountains who have done SIPs, because there's a lot of timber frame construction. So a lot of times they'll skin the timber frame structure with SIPs, and usually more the traditional EPS style. But yeah, there's quite a few builders, who've been doing SIPs for a long time in this area because of that timber frame style.
So what is next for Rob after he gets through this and then upping his game to using modular, which again is going to be a whole nother learning process, because as we know, you're building your process as you're building through these things. That's definitely how modular works, or offsite has worked for me in my projects when I built them. What's next? Like what's going to be happening when you actually get this done and actually have some time to think? And for a lot of our guests, they may not know, you also are a professor, right? You also teach classes, which is amazing to me.
Yeah, so I teach full time actually at Appalachian State University in Boone. I teach building science and other classes in the construction management program up there. But yeah, I guess when I'm not teaching, I'm on the construction site the rest of the week. So Duke Street Cottages, I'm hoping to wrap this project up probably by summer. So I mean that's coming fast, and I've already got my engineer working on the site plan for my next project, which is in Hickory, North Carolina, just down the road. It's a little bit tighter site. Duke Street Cottages is 1.25 acres. And I've got 11 units, in that neighborhood. The one in Hickory is just under an acre, but it's zoned high density residential. So I'm probably looking at townhomes on that project, and certainly lends itself to modular construction because there a lot of those are 16-foot wide. So probably going to build. I think I can get 16 units on this property, and probably doing 4 quads to build that out.
That's beautiful. So you are continuing to expand single family panels to modular. Now you're going to do quads. That's amazing. I'm so excited because you keep taking it to the next level and seeing where you can take this, and also bringing your science behind it. I think it's really exciting, Rob. I'm super sincere about telling you how proud I am and excited for you, because lots of people out there talk about it. Lots of people talk about passive house. They talk about all these different ways that they're going to integrate high performance, and then it's never done. Not only is it done by you, not only do you teach it and articulate it, but you're proving that this could be a success story. So in closing, is there anything else that you want our audience to know about Howard Building Science and your next projects?
The other side of the story is I'm also looking at taking on a few custom projects, more in the Boone area around Appalachian State, actually. Some of those for faculty and staff, who work at the university and are, in need of housing, but maybe not quite as small as the cottages I'm building in Granite Falls, but definitely trying to, shoot for the same performance standards on everything I build. So, I'm looking at zero energy ready as kind of the baseline for myself. And then I do have one client. You mentioned passive house, which I never thought, I would get the opportunity to build a passive house in North Carolina, but you get up into Boone and you change climate zones from here. We're in climate zone 4, Boone's climate zone 5. So actually, I've got a client who is a passive house consultant, is an architect by training, and he's designed his own home that he wants to build, and has hired me to be the general contractor on that. So it looks like I'm going to get to build a passive house sometime this year too.
I love it. Wow. Well, this is what it's all about. It's about telling our stories and sharing our stories, seeing our successes, and saying that it is possible, and using an offsite solution, using a panel system, using modular. Not only that, but also creating obtainable homes, even if it's in a pocket neighborhood where we have small lots. It's all about creating community and doing it to the highest level. Rob Howard has definitely done that with Howard Building Science, and we are proud to tell you about all that dirt and more.